I am so delighted to be here today. I know it's kind of late, but I'm going to be brief. And I do need to let you all know that I used to be the senior pastor. Now I'm a pastor of Cross Point Fellowship Church. And I could see so many familiar faces here and not so familiar as well. But this is Christmas season. Can we do this? Can you kind of stand and turn to someone else right behind you and say Merry Christmas? Do that, please.
Merry Christmas. Hello, Merry Christmas.
That's good. All right. That's great. Okay. I enjoyed you kids dancing and singing. That was great. And I would like for y'all to just listen to me for maybe 10 minutes at the most. I do want to thank Mr. John and his wife, Miss Christy, and inviting me over here. And I know Miss Christy is definitely a great encouragement. I was sitting in the ER at the hospital, had a bout with my health, and she walked up to me, Pastor Paul, God's going to be with you, and yes, he was. And the next day, had a minor surgery and done with, and I'm fine. Thank the Lord for it. And thank the Lord for the ministry you do with the kids, which is great because you instill in them what they need to know at this stage, and then when they grow up, they will not forget. Okay, I'm going to ask you, you all watched the pageant here a little while ago, right? 3 kings. We call them 3 kings, right? Were they really kings?
No.
Who were they?
Wise men.
Good answer. They weren't kings, they were wise men. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about wise men tonight, okay? This is a story, okay? What could have happened if God chose wise women? Oh, you know what you said? It would have been awesome. I think it would be awesome, girl. I agree with you. You know, if God chose 3 wise women, this thing could have happened. They probably asked for direction, gotten to Bethlehem quickly. They probably brought some practical gifts, and maybe brought some casserole. And the guy, remember, he was shivering, no food. Probably bought some food for the family. And but that's true. But God chose these men. We call them wise men. Now, we call them wise men because it comes from a term, magi. Heard about the term magi? And that's where we got the word in English, magician. And they were not famous for doing magic. Back in those days, they called them magi because they were wise men. And they were astronomers, and they studied the stars. And at the same time, they had fair knowledge of the Old Testament. And in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 2, verse 1 through 11, we know the story of wise men. Now, how many were there? And it's going to be interactive because there are so many kids here. How many wise men were there? What? Does the Bible say 3? Huh? Okay. And why do we call them only 3? It's because? Okay. It's because what? Someone said it correctly. Gifts. He's right. What, George? Gifts too. All right. Here you go. Gifts. Just because they brought 3 gifts, we think there were 3 wise men. But when you go to the history of the Middle Eastern culture back in those days, there must have been an entourage of many following these people. And what made them wise is not the gifts they brought. And I'm going to list a few things. They were called wise men back in those days because they were good in astronomy, but I call them they were wise because of the decision they made. What kind of decision they had to make? Now these men, they were seeking to find someone. These men studied the stars, read the Old Testament. They knew something is happening in the world.
So they were traveling and asking for, where is he that is born the King of the Jews? We have come to worship him. They were looking for a person, a king. Now, how do they know, these astrologers, how do they know that there was a king born in the manger? Oh, they didn't know at that time manger, but born in Israel, right? The Bible tells the heavens declares the glory of God, and the sky, or the firmament, proclaim the handiwork of God. In other words, these wise men, and I'm used to walking around, I think my voice will pick it up if I do, pardon me, these wise men, they were astronomers, and they knew something unusual is happening, and they said, we are going to find this. So they traveled. They made a decision to find Messiah. Now, they could have done something else. But they said, no. We will go and find the Messiah. The most important decision of all decisions that anyone could ever take is this. Not that you should celebrate Christmas is fine. It's great. You got your gifts and everything, right? But the most important thing of all is to find the Savior who was born in the manger. Finding him in our hearts. That's important. Now, there was a sign in Virginia about 5 years ago. There was a manger scene outside a house. Someone stole the baby Jesus. And then there was a sign. We're missing Jesus. We can have everything, but if you miss Jesus, then everything is meaningless. So the Magi said, we are going to find him. That's a decision they made. Secondly, I call them wise because they were determined to go. I'm going to ask you another question. The Bible tells they were from east of Jerusalem. So perhaps from Persia, Arabia. And they were about 1,000 miles from there to Jerusalem. And they came on camel's back, right? Have y'all seen camels? Seen, right? All right. Okay, let me ask you, what is the speed of camels walk? How many miles can a camel walk in an hour? Take a guess. Come on now.
10.
Said 10? Who's that? Oh, you said 10. Okay. All right. 12? All right. 13? 11? All right. 30? She's right. Who said 2? 2 miles. 2 miles an hour. Now, you're good at mathematics, right? 1,000 miles. 2 miles an hour. How many hours is it going to take?
500 hours.
500 hours? Yeah, you're right, 500. Don't change it now. 500, right? So, it's 500 hours time how many days? You're asking me, right? School is Monday. You're asking me all these questions, right? Okay, I'm not going to bother you with. Yes, Jordan?
Almost
More than a year? All right. Okay, he's diplomatic. Okay. Hey, let me tell you this, okay? It took a long time. Actually, it took 2 years for them to reach. And we see in manger in many pageants, okay, traditionally, we think Christ was a baby. No, he was 2 years old. How do we know? Remember Herod, King Herod? He said, kill all the children under the age of 2, which means it took 2 years for these wise men to travel. Now, these 2 years they traveled through the mountains, through the terrain, through the desert, and they were walking and coming. Camel can hold 30 to 50 gallons of water. Where do they hold? Humps and then the stomach, right? How many days can a camel go without water? 17 days. All right? So, which means they have to stop somewhere once in 17 days to feed the camels. Otherwise, they're not going to walk. So they have to find a place, an oasis, in the desert to find some water, and so they could feed. And keep walking, keep walking. Now, the history tells us, not in the Bible, when you read the history back in those days, when the Magi, wise men, stopped in some places, people asked, where you guys are going? They said, we are going to find a king, Messiah, the King of Jews, and we're going to find him. And then, what are the things that you have? He said, there's a star. Are you crazy? You're following a star, trying to find a king that you don't know, never seen? Now, I'm sure they're very discouraged. I'm sure they got sick on the way. And God gave them a very important sign, a star. It was not a comet. It was not a supernova. It was not anything spectacular that we see in the celestial. But God gave them a special star. And they followed it, and they were coming towards Jerusalem. And when I put this down, as I was typing this, they came with determination. Regardless of who say what, we will find the king. Now, being a Christian is a challenge. You go to school, and then I know you kids face challenges in school, right? There are bullies out there. When you say Christian, they probably don't even like it these days, do they? But then you have the determination to tell and to know that you are the children of the Most High. You know Jesus. Parents, let me challenge you. In your workplace, do you take a stand for God, or do you shy away? It is important to say that you are a Christian. It's important to have this determination to tell the world that you are a Christian, regardless of how you're being ridiculed. These wise men, I bet they were ridiculed. They didn't care, because they made this determination. And then thirdly, they did come to Jerusalem. And where did they go when they came to Jerusalem? Yeah. You're right. To the king's palace. King Herod, right? He went over there. All these guys went over there to the king, King Herod, and asked him, where is he that is born the King of the Jews? Herod didn't know. Herod called the Pharisees, called the scribes, called the religious leaders to go to him and said, can you tell me? And the religious leaders knew Christ would be born in Bethlehem, but they were unwilling to accept the fact. Keep it in mind. They knew the truth, but they weren't ready to accept the fact. Who? The religious leaders. But then these wise men, they heard the king. King said, I would like for you to go and find him, and when you do, come back and tell me, so I can go with you and worship. He was lying. He didn't want to go and worship Christ. If he wanted to go and worship Christ, he could have told the wise men, say, let me come with you, and let's go and worship. No, he said, go and find him, come back and tell me. In other words, once they find, come back and tell, he was going to kill the baby. But wise men, they discern the hypocrisy, jealousy of this king. Now, on one side, religious leaders, they knew the truth, but they did not want to accept the truth. But here, wise men, they also knew the truth, but they want to accept the truth and then go a different way, because they know what to do when they know what is right. Now let me tell you, kids, sometimes it is difficult to do things that are right. When you know that things are right, you should do it regardless of the consequences. Your peers might say, don't do that. But when you know in your heart what you know, what you say, what you're reading is right, do it. Do not worry. Standing for right and doing the right thing is important. These guys, wise men, that's why I call them wise men, they did right. My parents, let me ask you, how often you take a stand for what is right? Sometimes we don't, do we? We shy away from the truth. The reason being, put it simply, survival. If I stand for the right, what would so-and-so would think? If I stand for the right, what would happen to my prosperity? If I stand for the right, what would my neighbor think? If I stand for the right, what would be my relative think? If I stand for the right, what would be my co-worker think? Now I'm here to tell you, if you shy away like the religious leaders, you would never find the peace, joy, and the great blessing of Christmas. But if you do go like the wise men, you will find what you need in life. Finally, I call them wise because they discovered the Messiah, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Now when you open the gifts, right? When you open the gift, on 24th evening or 25th? When do you normally open the gift? You already snuck in and opened something? No. Yeah, never mind. Okay. When do you normally open the gifts, Christmas gifts? Morning of Christmas Day? The 25th? Not on Christmas Eve? How many of you open Christmas Eve? On Christmas Eve. You know, we have a tradition in our family. We let the kids open on Christmas Eve. Here's the reason. Because they're all grown up now. When they were little, after my wife and I go to bed, they'll sneak out and see what's in there. Right? You do that, don't you? And just, no you don't. All right. And all the kids are the same, right? They just wanted to do it. They're inquisitive. They just want to know what's in there. When you open it up, what happens? Huh? Your eyes light up, right? You like it. Did y'all give the list as to what you want your parents? But no. Are they going to kind of surprise you? No. Come on, parents. Look at the faces. Have you all gotten gifts for these kids? Wrap them up nicely. Better be good gifts because look at them. They're sad. But the time comes when they do open the gift, they would light up. They would glitter. Here's the reason. Because they have found something they've been longing for, looking under the tree all these days, and when they opened it, and they were rejoicing. And these wise men, when they found Christ, they worshiped Him. They bowed before Him, the King of glory, in the manger, and they worshiped Christ and said, "Here's the King. We have discovered Him." Let me ask you this. Have you discovered the King of Kings in your life? Do you know Him? Parents, let me ask you, do you know Him in your heart? It'll be a useless exercise to go through Christmas after Christmas, singing the songs, reciting everything, not knowing Christ in your heart. Wise men found Christ in their hearts. I say because they did not go back to Herod. They went back a different way. Wise men, they made a decision. They were determined. They discovered the Lord. They stood for what was right. And I'm going to ask you, stand for what is right. And then discover the Lord in your heart. The Bible tells, what is the use if you gain the whole world and lose your soul? The most important thing in your life is your soul given to Christ. Parents, the same thing. Christmas would be meaningful when you turn your heart to the Lord. I'm going to have you all bow with me and I'm going to pray. Can we do this? Dear Lord, we give you all the glory. I thank you for these children. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, Lord, they're adults. Thank you for the ministry with the children as they hear the gospel. I pray they would not depart from the truth. May they hide the word deep in their hearts. They would not sin against you. Dear Lord, of all the discoveries the wise men never done in their lives, the most important discoveries of all the discoveries is to find Christ. I pray that we would all find Jesus in our heart. Without Him, there is no Christmas. Help us to have Jesus in Christ's name.